So in December of 2024, Nike shut down their $1 billion virtual sneaker platform, and they didn't warn a single investor. They made over $185 million in royalties and dipped. And due to their lack of knowledge in the space, they pulled one of the biggest rug pulls of all time. But the real scandal is what happened behind closed doors. Here's how Nike's virtual empire came to a crashing halt.
Yo, you know you're fucking Seller K.
We're back, baby. I told you guys, every Wednesday, every Sunday, I say this every video. You guys keep showing me support. I'm gonna keep posting twice a week. And before long, I'm gonna have that 1 million subscriber plaque right there. But before we get into this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. And while watching this, please just give me a chance to explain this stuff a little bit because it may be confusing. Anyways, sit back, relax, and enjoy the video, baby. So, in 2020, during the peak of this whole NFT thing, people were going crazy. The people who knew about it were getting rich. Buying, selling, holding these JPEG pictures. I mean, Twitter even came out with like a verification thing if you had an NFT as your profile picture. But just like me and most of the general public, we were confused. A digital picture that you could just screenshot on your phone was selling for millions of dollars, but yet everybody was saying it was the future. It seemed like every celebrity and influencer was dropping or promoting some sort of crypto or NFT thing, and they were advising you to pretty much spend your whole life savings on a picture of like a ape with 3D glasses. And then you had people like Gary Vee who was preaching that it was gonna be like the next Google. This whole metaverse thing was gonna be the future and everybody was gonna be wearing VR headsets and blah, blah, blah. And during this whole craze of like 2020 and 2021, Nike was just sitting back and analyzing what this whole thing was. They were seeing if it was gonna stick around for a while, if they should invest in it, you know what I'm saying. And Nike's NFT journey began in 2021 when they decided to jump on the trend and acquire this company called Artifact. It was a virtual sneaker company that made NFTs of virtual shoes. And for those of you who don't know, an NFT stands for a non-fungible token, and we'll get into that in a second. But for Nike, this wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. It wasn't something that they just hopped on quickly to make a quick buck because it was like a trend. Like I feel like a lot of other influencers or celebrities or companies, like they hopped on this NFT thing, made a quick bag and then dipped. But Nike wasn't gonna do that. Or so we thought. You see, Nike didn't do this for money. They have enough money. They didn't do this whole get rich quick thing. They didn't do it for a quick buck. Like they got plenty of money. Nike's plan at the time was they wanted to dominate the metaverse. When it came to the online community, they wanted to be just as big in person as they were online. And at this time, when they introduced this whole NFT thing, like it was praised. Like people thought it was really cool and creative and it was like, it was awesome. And when I say this whole metaverse thing, let's not overcomplicate it here. Think about how you would buy a skin in a digital game or like on a mobile app, you could pay a few extra dollars, maybe get a few extra lives on the game. Or like in Fortnite, how you can pay $5 and buy a character on there and play as the character on the game. You see, you're spending money on a character on the game that's not something that's real life. You can't touch it. You can't like, it's not like an action figure, you know? Or think about like on a game like Call of Duty, you can pay for extra maps or extra part of the story mode. Or like on sports games like Madden or 2K, you can pay a little bit of money and get like a digital player that's not included in the original like game. Think about how in Fortnite you could pay like $10 or whatever it was to get Nike shoes in the game. Like this is what I mean by Nike dominating the metaverse. It's not like some weird VR thing that nobody knows about. Like this is what I mean. Nike wanted to dominate this whole like online metaverse community of like video games. But something like this whole NFT thing, it seems like it was very foreign, but in reality, it's kind of been around for a few years when you put it into like these video game terms. Like I remember asking my parents when the Call of Duty came out, like if they had this new DLC, if I could go get like a $20 gift card, and trying to explain to my parents like, hey, I want to pay $20 to get like extra maps in the game. You know what I'm saying? It's not like a real thing. See, that's what it was like trying to explain this whole NFT thing to people who didn't understand it. But anyway, back to it. Nike wasn't the only company that did this. Brands like Gucci, Tiffany & Co, Dolce & Gabbana, they were also doing this at the same time. And the cool thing about NFTs is that they actually had royalties every time it got sold. So basically this gave the artist a chance to make money on the back end. Like for example, when the off-white Jordan 1s came out, Nike only sold these for $180. And after they sold out, they were going for like $1,500 to $2,000 on the resale market. You see, but Nike only gets the $180 that they sold it for, that retail price. NFTs. Nike doesn't make any money on the $2,000 sale that somebody would buy on StockX. So this also gave companies a chance to make royalties as they go. So when I explain it into that terms, hopefully it makes sense. Okay, so back to the whole Nike NFT thing. So Nike's first thing in the metaverse, I believe, was this Roblox thing. I'm not for sure though, but basically Nike made this Nike Land in Roblox, which allowed you to wear Nike clothes and play in this Nike map with your friends. And they encourage participants to move and engage in like physical activity and stuff. So Nike around this time acquired this company called RTFKT. And this was already an established company that created virtual sneakers, and they even had collaborations with Takashi Murakami. So yeah, they were kind of like a big deal. And when Nike acquired and started working with this company RTFKT, they dropped their crypto kicks, which were initially trading for around 3.5 ETH, which was around $8,000. They only sold about 20,000 pairs or 20,000 of these NFTs. But it's a thing, like people were paying $8,000 for a picture of a Nike shoe. And one of these NFT pairs of Nike shoes actually sold for $130,000. This platform actually gained traction and had over 40 collaborations. And over time, it was looking good. They made $92 million on sales of these NFTs. And then they also made $93 million on these royalties. Like I said, every time these NFTs get traded or swapped ownership, whenever they sell, Nike gets a small percentage of that. So 92 million in sales, $93 million in royalties, and over $1.2 billion worth of trade volume. Like this was set up to be like a big thing. Like this was popping. But the problem with all this is that they launched it towards the end of the whole NFT hype. And also behind closed doors, they were doing something that others didn't realize. And this was where cracks started to show a little bit. You see, with this whole NFT and crypto world, if your stuff is not stored properly, then you're at risk of hackers or people taking your online digital currency, right? That's why a lot of people are afraid to own some of these digital things, because they think that people can just get in and hack them and take them. But also, instead of decentralized storage, Nike and RTFKT use centralized servers like Cloudflare and GoDaddy. It's like if you stored something at a friend's house, like a photo or a check or something like that, you would have to trust that one friend to keep your stuff safe. If that one friend moves or loses your thing, then you're cooked. Versus decentralized storage would be like if you made copies of that photo or check, whatever it was, and you gave these to hundreds of your friends worldwide. So even if one or two of your friends loses it, you still have it, right? But of course, Nike didn't use that one. They used the centralized storage, which is pretty much like that meme of the Cheeto holding the door lock closed. And this was something that most investors missed. They just trusted Nike that they would do it all the right way, but they didn't. So with this knowledge, the ticking time bomb was set. And of course, after the whole success of this whole Nike NFT thing, like the NFT market kind of crashed. Like it seemed like at one time, everybody was talking about NFTs. Like everywhere you looked on social media, every YouTube video, every podcast, every article online, it's like it started to feel like the NFTs were gonna be like a big thing of the future. But then it was like 2 or 3 months later, nobody cared about them anymore. Nobody talked about them anymore. And after a while, in December 2024, Nike suddenly announced that they were winding down the RTFKT operations. And after this, the NFT prices crashed by 60%. It was like things that were worth hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars were now worth like a couple hundred, maybe. And it so quickly went from like a thing of the future to now like you're an idiot if you do NFTs. And the company Nike and RTFKT that promised these big things in the future, they hyped this up and sold these NFT sneakers at like the highest price possible. And then as NFTs started winding down, Nike pretty much said, you know what, I'm done, I'm pulling out, I'm out. Like, we're not doing anything more. These NFTs aren't worth anything. And they pulled the rug from their own community. And this leads me to the question of what is a rug pull? And by definition, a rug pull is a scenario in the cryptocurrency world where developers abandon a project after raising assets, which leaves participants with worthless tokens. Basically, they promise something big and then they abandon the project. But oh yeah, it gets worse. On April 24th, 2025, holders discovered that their NFT images were gone. When they logged in to see their collectibles, a message appeared. And it said, this content has been restricted using Cloudflare's basic service violations, terms of service, whatever, right? And one member of the whole RTFKT team even tweeted this. I'll display it on the screen. And according to this RTFKT member, Cloudflare mistakenly terminated their $500K a year contract, which pretty much revealed the truth. These decentralized NFTs depended entirely on a centralized monthly subscription being paid. And this started an uproar. People were mad. Like, especially the people that paid $8 grand or $130,000 for these like NFTs that weren't even being stored properly. People trusted that Nike, being this huge company, that they would have it all figured out and that they would do like the best of the best. You know, they would do it right. Like a big multi-billion-dollar company like Nike, they would do it right. Like they were trustworthy. And no, they weren't. And literally 24 hours after that tweet, like that whole thing happened where people logged in and their NFTs were gone, an investor, somebody who bought these NFTs, literally smacked Nike with a $5 million class action lawsuit. But basically he's suing Nike for doing a rug pull, hyping up a project, and Nike profited from the sales and also their royalties, and then abandoned their investors. This is literally the definition of a rug pull. Now, it's not like they abandoned them at the peak. Like NFTs died out and then they pretty much abandoned it and they said that like, hey, NFTs are done for, so like nobody cares about them anymore, so we're not gonna do them anymore. But you would think a company like Nike, even with it crashing, they would still follow through with their word and what they said they were gonna do. But that is the story of how Nike rug pulled their investors. Ooh, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I don't know when this one's gonna be posted, but I post every Wednesday and every Sunday, so I think this one's gonna be posted Sunday, so we'll see you guys Wednesday. And if you haven't already, follow my Instagram right here. I post on there pretty much every day. All the videos that don't make the cut for YouTube end up on my TikTok and Instagram every day, so check those out if you like daily content. And that being said, guys, we'll see you in the next video. Peace!